Okay, welcome back. This is the final video in the Cardi Club series, and today we are going to be showing you how to turn this sleeve into this sleeve. So, if you followed the Cardi Club pattern, you should have a nice squared pattern. And you may have 3, you may have 4, you may have 5, it depends how wide your sleeves are, but you should have seen them together and you should have just a wide opening at the bottom of it. And what we're going to do is we are going to decrease the volume of that sleeve and then add a rib stitch to the end. So for example, on this one, we've gone from being this wide, of taking it in on 2 rounds of decreases, and then we've added the rib stitch to make a lovely stretchy cuff so that fits my arm perfectly. So I'm going to show you how to do that now. So to start, you are going to take your sleeve, you're going to find your sleeve and you're going to find the bottom of that sleeve. So you should have a seam at the bottom of that sleeve and you are going to start your work here. So you're going to need your hook, you're going to need your yarn. Here's mine. She says, here's the end of mine. And all we're going to do is we're going to join the yarn into that seam there. So just wiggle your hook in anywhere in that seam. I'm going to grab your yarn and pull it through. Pull it all the way through. Tie a knot. And then again, we're going to pop the hook back through, grab your yarn and pull up our working loop. So for this section, for this sleeve, we are going to do single crochets and single crochet decreases. Now, single crochet is one of the easiest stitches there is in the crochet world, so I'm going to show you how to do those now. We're going to start by doing 1 chain. Okay, so we're actually going to be doing our single crochets into the chains at the top of our squares. So that is underneath these little V's all the way along our sleeve. So we're going to find our first chain, and that can be a bit tricky because we've got our join here, but mine is just here. You're going to push your hook through, grab your yarn and put it through. So you should have 2 chains, 2 loops on the hook even, and then we're just going to pull a yarn over through both of them, and that is a single crochet. So I'm going to show you that one more time. You're going to put your hook into the chain, yarn over and pull it through. And then you're going to yarn over and pull that through both. And that is a single stitch, a single crochet. A single crochet decrease is where we crochet 2 chains together. And to do that, put your hook in the first chain, pull through a loop, and then put it straight back in the next chain and pull through a loop. So you'll have 3 loops on the hook. And then we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull it through all 3. And can you see? That turns that into 1 chain on the top, but that was 2 stitches. And what we're going to do now is you are going to do decrease stitches all the way around the outside of this cuff. So the pattern, I believe, says to do 1 single crochet and decrease the rest. Obviously I've done 2 here, doesn't matter too much, but if you want to go back and undo that one, feel free, and then we're just going to decrease all the way around the outside. So I'll do that with you for a bit, just so we can recap. So you're going to go into your next chain, pull through the yarn, into the next chain, grab the yarn and pull it through. So you've got 3 loops on the hook, going into 2 chains. We're going to yarn over, put it through all of them. Next one along, grab your yarn, put it through. Next one along, grab your yarn, put it through. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, put it through all of them. And can you see we're already starting to get a little bit of volume decrease there. So we're going to go again, next one along, next one along. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, take it through all 3. Next chain, grab your yarn and put it through. Next chain, grab your yarn and put it through. 3 loops on the hook, yarn over, through all 3. And we're just going to keep rotating that sleeve and working all the way around. When you get to your slip stitch join seam, just pick anywhere on that. Might have to wiggle your hook through. I think you've got one there. Wiggle, pull through, and then I usually just go straight into the big chain space when I'm on these ones, all the way through, back into the chains. And this is single crochet decrease. Almost all the way around now. Can you see that started to gather up? And this bit's tighter. That's exactly what we want to be happening. Okie dokie. So as you can see, I've got one chain left, so I'm just going to do single crochet in there. And then I'm going to slip stitch to join. And what that means is I'm going to take my hook, put it underneath the first chain of the row that I'm currently working on, grab my yarn and put it through, and then put it through the loop on my hook. So as you should be able to see, bear with me, it's a bit awkward to maneuver. I now have a much narrower sleeve, so we went from practically double that, but it's still a bit wide for my hand. You see that? So what we're going to do now is we are going to go back and do a very similar row, but we're going to alternate between single crochet and decrease so that we're not decreasing quite as much as we did on that round. So we're going to start by chaining one, and then we're going to do a single crochet in the next chain. Then we're going to do a single crochet decrease in the next two. And then the next one is just a normal single crochet. Then a single crochet decrease. And then a normal single crochet. I'm going to carry on like this, single crochet decrease, all the way around the top of your sleeve. Now, if you'd finished the previous row and it was actually quite a good fit on your wrist, you wouldn't need to do this one. What I recommend is if that one isn't right, do this row and see how the fit is then, and we'll troubleshoot at the end when we get to that point, if just in case it's still not quite right. So now we're on a single. I'm going to speed this bit up on the video so that you don't have to sit and watch me go all the way around, but basically I'm going to repeat single crochet decrease until I get back around to the beginning of the row that I just started. See you there. Okay, so here I am back at the beginning of my row. It can be a little tricky to see, but just remember it always lines up with that bottom seam. I'm just going to slip stitch into the first single crochet on that row, and there I have my decreases. Now, decreases. When you're doing this, obviously some people's sleeves are going to be wider and some people's sleeves are going to be narrower, depending on your measurements at the beginning of the cardigan. My sleeve is 4 squares wide, and I find that doing one full row of decreases and then one full row of decrease and single alternating is enough to make that fit on my hand. And what you want to be able to do is get your hand in there easily. You don't want that to be so tight that you're having to force your hand in, because the rib stitch that you're about to do will bring that in a little bit more, but in a more elastic way, because this is quite a solid stitch. It's not going to stretch much. So for me, that's done. But if you find that this is too small, you might want to take that row back out, and instead of doing single crochet decrease, you would alternate single crochet, single crochet, single crochet, decrease. So you're decreasing less stitches in that round. And if, again, you're finding this still far too big, you do the opposite. So you would do a single crochet, decrease, single crochet, decrease, single crochet. So you're putting more decreases into it if you're trying to make it smaller, and less decreases in if you're trying to make it wider. I hope that makes sense. But if it doesn't, just drop me a message and I will take you through that. Okay? So now we have got to the end of the decreases. You should have a cuff that is wide enough for you to easily put your hand in. I like to make it about sort of the fist sort of size, because, you know, that's what your hands are going to be as you put your cardigan on and off. You're now going to add in the rib stitch. And the rib stitch is what you're going to use, to add length to your sleeve to make sure it's the right length for your arm, but also to help bring that cuff in just a little bit more, and it creates this nice sort of stretchy material that looks like knitted ribs. So we're going to use very similar, well, we're going to use exactly the same stitch as we did on the rest of the cardigan. We're going to use front post and back post double crochets to achieve this. So to do that, you're going to want to be back on your working cuff, and you're going to chain 2. And that is going to be the first stitch in your round. So we are going to work around these little posts for this one. So we're going to do a yarn over, you're going to do a double front post. So we're going to take that in. So if you have a look, here's my first chain, there's my second chain. I'm going to go into that one and back out of that one. So I've created a little post. I'm going to yarn over and pull that through. And then it's yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. So now I'm going to do a back post crochet. So it's yarn over, up through this gap, over the top of this piece, and back down there. Hope you can see that on the camera. Put it back through. And then it's yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And can you see how that's starting to come around? So we're going to yarn over. This one's a front post. So we're going to go in through the front, around the back of that stitch and back up the other side. Grab the yarn and pull it through, and then we're going to yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. Now a back post. Yarn over around to the back, over the top of your stitch and back round. Grab your yarn and pull it through, yarn over through 2, yarn over through 2. And now a front post. I'm going to work our front post and back posts all the way around our sleeve until we come back and meet up with this one at the beginning. So I'm going to go and do that now, and I'll meet you there. Okay, so I've actually got one stitch left to do here, and it's a back post double crochet. Okay, and there's that, and then all we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch to join. So I like to take that just under there, and there's the join. So that's our first row of rib stitch on our cuff, and I'm going to add quite a few more rows to this. So all we need to do that is chain 2, and then unlike our other extensions on the rib stitch, we're not going to flip our work over. We're just going to keep working around the cuff in the same direction until it's tall enough for us to cast it off. Okay, so I'm just going to go straight in. So the next one's a front post. Do our front post, and then our back post. And it gets a bit easier from here because you've picked up all those stitches that were singles, and now we're just working back into our double crochets, and we're going to carry on lining up our doubles and back doubles just like before, so that we end up with a nice neat rib stitch. So once again, I am going to meet you back at the end. I may do a couple of rows so that I can match my other cuff. This one's quite a nice long patch of rib stitch. When I get to that point, I'm going to join you again and we'll show you how to finish that. Okay, so here you have it. I'm about to do the final slip stitch to join this row, and I actually added 4 more rows of ribbon stitch to this cuff, if anyone wanted to know. So I'm just going to slip stitch in, then I'm going to do a chain, pull that tight, pull up a loop, snip it off, and there you have your finished sleeve. Obviously that end needs weaving in, but look at that. And then we've gone from a 4 wide cuff to a cuff that's basically just under 1 wide. That's still nice and stretchy and fits perfectly on your wrist. And that's how you make a balloon sleeve.